crazy. I can't live like this anymore. I can't live in this Pepsi can. I'm gonna kill somebody. I just know I'm gonna kill somebody. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Soap Lore, the official gathering place for newbies, novices, and OG diehard fans of the golden age of primetime. I'm your host, Jet, viewing and reviewing one of the soapiest, sudsiest primetime storylines of 1984. We're back on the West Coast for a Falcon Fiend fun day as we explore Season 4, Episode 9, The Trump Card. So whether you're new to this or true to this, sit back and enjoy. Tell the kids it's time to play outside or out of sight. Tell babes no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 35 minutes. Everyone else in earshot, be cool, be quiet, or you will be kicked out because we are watching our stories. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Soap Lore. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soap Lore. You know what? This one is actually an easy-going day. This is a good time to kick back, catch up. If you're running behind on the episodes, go ahead and watch a few in bulk. That's kind of what I've been doing today, and I'm not mad at it. We've got some pretty exciting storylines, some very funny moments, but by and large, Falcon Crest is doing what Falcon Crest does best. They are building tension. They are laying the foundation for a fantastic season. Sadly, I have forgotten to pick up my sparkling water at the grocery store today, so I'm just going to be sipping on some regular degular. Not a whole lot going on this episode, but it's still fun nonetheless. We get to see a meltdown from our girl Julia. She even has to call the whimsical Emma for some mental health tips, and you already know how I feel about that. We've got Richard and Francesca living out the Mrs. Robinson fantasy. As a matter of fact, everybody wants a piece of Francesca. She's officially the it girl. The Italian it girl has landed in the valley, and she is kicking up smoke by doing the absolute least. Melissa hunkers down on being a single woman, and Falcon Crest turns the sexy all the way up. We're on a 10 this episode. Season 4, Episode 9, The Trump Card. Best I can tell, it's 1984. Things are going well at the networks. You have at least 4 top-tier primetime soap operas on, and that means there's going to be competition. We already know Dynasty's going to show up shiny. We already know people are in love with JR. Doesn't take a whiz to figure out that Knots Landing has the drama chops that everyone's looking for, and I think Falcon Crest is kind of a combination of everything. But the sexiness, now okay, sex appeal across the board. It is hard for me to kind of compare apples to apples, considering as I'm watching these, we're on different seasons, it's different years. I feel comfortable in saying that anyone on a soap opera is probably good looking, whether you're 2 or you're 92. You're going to be at least good looking. Sexy is relative, but there are ways to play that up. Falcon Crest is not going the subtle route. Allow me to explain. Okay, this episode opens up. I kid you not. I am minding my business, watching the show. And do you remember those little bitty shorts we talked about on Lance last time? Little bitty jogging shorts. They were short and shiny. Then in my research on Knots Landing, we talked about Gary in his itty bitty baby blue shorts, and did a little research, discovered that, 70s and 80s, it was all about the shorts being short, tight, and a little bit shiny if you got it. Lance got the memo. 1984, they are short, they are tight, and they're definitely shimmering, but they're also sopping wet. Apparently, Falcon Crest said, we have this 6'2" tall, dark, and handsome stud. Let's go ahead and parade him around like a piece of meat for a little bit. I'm not complaining. I'm just like, dang, okay, this is what we're doing. So Lance comes from the pool. The pool seems to be in front of the house on the opposite side of the driveway, which seems very inconvenient for like pool parties and things like that. It's not the best location, but it is what it is. So Lance comes dripping, and I mean sopping wet, from the pool. He crosses the driveway just as Melissa is leaving the house. And of course, he takes this opportunity to insult her a little bit, but you can tell she's kind of looking him up and down like, okay, I remember. I like what I see. You're still a douchebag, but you're hot. And he asks if she's coming to check on her dwindling inheritance. She tells him, you know what, it's 3 times as much as whatever you're going to get, homeboy. So let that be what it's going to be. But of course, this is a totally distracting scene because all I'm saying, go look for yourself. Just watch it yourself. They are very, very, very short. Very, very, very shiny and very, very, very wet. Well, in the next scene after that, we get to see Lieberman. I keep forgetting his fake name, but you know who I'm talking about, the Nazi guy. He has a beautiful woman in his art studio / super secret lair / land property acquisition front of an office. So he's got her in like this lingerie. She's sitting on this stool, pantyhose and lingerie. She's holding an apple really seductively. In comes Spheris to give him the latest tea on any sort of tracking he's been doing on Angela. And they have this conversation about how Angela really should have been in the cartel. She's quite awesome. She always does her due diligence. Everybody's wondering what's going to happen with Francesca. Francesca has the valley in a tizzy. Is it because she is, a wild card? Probably. Is it because she is now a new heir to Falcon Crest? Absolutely. Is it also because she's an Italian baddie of a certain age? I think that is 90% of everything. The other 5 and 5% are very much the footnote of this episode. Everybody wants to know what this woman is going to do and why she's so fine and why is she in the valley. Meanwhile, the girl's holding the apple. You are thinking that Lieberman is actually drawing the girl. He's drawing the apple the whole time. Why does a girl need to be in her panties in lingerie at high noon to hold an apple so you can only draw the apple? It's a weird sort of power play. But it's also an opportunity to show the world how sexy Falcon Crest is. The other resident baddie, Aunt Terry, is minding her business, driving her. I thought it was a Bugatti for a second, but listen, I don't know 80s cars. It's something fast, something yellow. Let's just call it a Lamborghini. I'll be corrected if I need to be corrected. She is minding her business. Looks like she's on her way to play tennis or something. Just driving. And next thing you know, here comes someone in a white Corvette flying down the road. Now, we already know who it is. We ain't seen Florida Man in 2 or 3 episodes. He's clearly running out of cash. She pretends to not see him, but of course, he's not going to let that happen. He flies up next to her. He's honking the horn all loud. Beep, beep. She's like, oh my God, go away, Joel, go away. He, of course, cuts her off. There's no real point in this scene other than to remind us that Terry is under pressure. She's under duress. She's worried about this guy. She's having to constantly look over his shoulder, and he seems to be making bigger and bigger money moves. He's drawing a lot of attention to himself. But he wants that old thing back. He's like, babe, don't you remember when we used to cruise up and down the Florida coast? She says, I remember that. And then I remember you snorting booger sugar up your nose. So it's not a great memory for me. He doesn't care. He's like, you don't really have a choice. You are my wife, whether you like it or not. No real point to this. No real point other than to remind us that Joel is high-key hot and that Terry's hot. What other baddie do we need to introduce this episode? Let me think. Was there another topless scene? Of course, there's a topless scene. So I'm getting all the little bit parts out of the way first. Lance, this episode, is suddenly very interested in Lorraine. After she storms into his office, mind you, he is still running the company. He's still running the Globe. She comes over to go off on him about writing this article about Richard. Now, it's at this point, Lance just kind of wants to see where her head is. So he says, do you really know who your stepdad is? She does. He is a man who's made a lot of mistakes, and he's really, really sorry for them. So I would love it if you would stop printing this crap about my father. Something about her innocence, something about her nobility. I don't know what it is, but it lights a fire in young Lance. Mind you, he's fully dressed now. He's in his Brooks Brothers Brooks suit. So he spends the rest of the episode phoning her, trying to get her attention. She's not really having it. The seeds are planted. I think that's it for the bit player. Let's get into the it girl. Talk about Chase and Maggie. Talk about Angela, and our girl Julia is kicking up dust once again. When last we left, Francesca and Richard were sharing a dance at this tea party in the middle of the day, remember? Lieberman, under his alias, had thrown this housewarming party for himself. The entire valley showed up in varying degrees of cocktail attire and casual wear. And Richard puts eyes on Francesca, and that's it. That's all. He scoops her up there dancing. Well, apparently he doesn't want to let her go. So let's rewind back to Lance in his skivvies. In his shimmery little panty shorts. Lance is chilling. He's standing on the porch watching Melissa leave. Angela comes out and she's like, where are your clothes, kid? He's like, don't worry about all that. Up drives Richard, and they both forget that they were talking to each other just to stare at him like, oh my God, what does he want? He wants to come pick up Auntie Francesca. Auntie Frances comes out. She looks gorgeous in red, hair done, makeup done. And there's just something to me so beautiful about that kind of era of women. I know this is from the studio. I know there was kind of a different pressure, but the way that these women, or these starlets, these movie stars of ago, maintain themselves is just so gorgeous. I think of Elizabeth Taylor. What's our girl's name? Francesca. No. Jacqueline. What's Jacqueline's real name? Lana Turner. I love the upkeep. They're so glamorous, even casually. So Francesca is a lady in red. Richard takes her to the tracks, but he's like, you can tell we've seen him being into people. He's really into Pam. He tore up half the world looking for her, but he seems to have totally forgotten about her this episode. It is all about Francesca. They go to the racetrack. She bets on horse number 3. He flirts, and she wins. But here's the best part of this conversation. Her being a woman, a grown woman, she understands how this game is played as he is smiling, and she can tell he's into her. But she wants to make it known that she's not going to forget that she is a recent inheritee of a large piece of prime real estate, and she understands that also makes her desirable. She's also been without a husband for 10 years, so she knows what it is. She's basically telling Richard in not so many words, little boy, please don't think you're going to run game on me. Don't think you're going to pull the wool over my eyes. I know exactly how this works. If my math is mathing, which is probably not, she's in her 50s. Not that I often have a problem with the word a woman of a certain age, because it's always implies that she may be past her prime. I don't believe that is a thing. I really, really don't believe that is a thing. I think when you prioritize yourself, you prioritize your mental health, and like you surround yourself with people you love, you're going to radiate this certain amount of beauty for an extended period of time. Nobody should look exactly like they did at 18. I think, especially in Western culture, we really do just worship youth. And I'm like, you need look at this. Look at what happens when you're grown. You've been handling your own business. You're confident, you're strong, smart, and beautiful. Doesn't mean you have to give up your looks as well. Well, she doesn't. He sees it. He knows what it is. She knows what it is. But they seem to be on one accord as far as how they feel about each other. So throughout the episode, Richard, of course, he sends her the flowers. He makes time for her. But what he doesn't do is dot his I's and cross his T's, because Pam still lives with him. Now, at the garden party, Pam clocked this immediately. The moment he went dancing with this woman, Pam got uncomfortable. She kind of like twisted her face up like, are you for real? And I'm with her. He definitely has a type. He loves a bad brunette. But are you seriously, you're going to do me like this and I'm living with you? So Pam shows up in, if nothing else, Pam has that ish on. She put that on. So she gets dressed and she looks kind of like a 1940s zoot suit wearing detective. She comes in all white, or she looks like an extra for a Michael Jackson video. She's in all white. She's got on a white fedora. She's got on like an oversized men's suit. It's really, really cute with, I think it's like a light pink tie, kind of some pastels popped in. And she's like, hey, Richard, I thought you might like some company. What's going on? Francesca, ever the baddie, ever the highly desired woman, understands that this is Richard's woman, so she's going to play her part. She is completely poised. Why, hello, Pam. It's so lovely to see you again. And Pam is keeping it cute because she's British. She's got those good manners. Likewise, Richard, I thought you'd like some company. He pulls Pam aside and is like, hey, you need to get back to work. Excuse me? yeah. I really need those papers done by tomorrow. She's like, okay, okay, I'll do that. She does that. But she's also, remember, he had her spying on people, so she's going to continue to do what she needs to do. At one point in the episode, Richard does send flowers to the house. Angela intercepts, well, actually, Emma collects them from the door. Angie sees that they're flowers. She takes the card and she starts reading it. Emma's like, Mom, you can't read that. That's not yours. It's like, little girl, this is my house and I can do what I please. Reads it, of course, it's from Richard. This is where Angela, this is one of the things I like about her. Remember how, she doesn't like Chase, but remember when Vicky got married, she was just like, I can't have my great niece looking a mess. You can come get married over here. When Maggie was having surgery, listen, I can't stand your husband, Maggie, but I just can't have any Tom, Dick, or Harry cutting your skull open. I don't think you should do it. She shows that she cares in certain ways, even if she is trying to pull the wool over your eyes. In this case with Francesca, there's actually nothing to hide. Francesca's already agreed to sell. They know what it is. She's just like, girl, you don't need to be dating Richard. I'm going to tell you this right now. Richard is a whore. He is running all over the valley, chasing every skirt in town. You don't need that. She can't stand it. She can't stand the thought of Douglas's bastard hooking up with her father's bastard. It is a problem in her eyes, and she lets Francesca know as much. Francesca lets her know, I am very much a grown woman. I'm going to have fun with whoever I want to. And she spends the rest of the episode sort of being petty by not showing up to any of Angela's events. Like if Angela's like, hey girl, you want to eat dinner? No, I'm busy. I'm going out. Hey, you want to have breakfast? No, I can't. I'm going out. Francesca is booked and busy, but Angela is also taking a really long time to get the paperwork in order. The manimal needs to step it up. A part of the delay with the manimal is that he is fighting two battles at once. He is trying to get the paperwork just so that Chase can look over it and understand that the property is now split into 3. He needs to write that out just so. He also needs to get the paperwork together for Francesca and Angie's agreement that Francesca will sell her third over to Angela. In addition to that, he also has a lawsuit that Angela filed against Chase for the wrongful death of Philip, her love, quote unquote. So I can understand he's a one-man operation, even though he's making $30,000 a month. It's taking a little time. In this particular scene, this is towards the beginning of the episode. They are in Angela's study, they being the manimal, Craig Reardon, Angela Gioberti, and Angela Channing and Chase Gioberti. I could not help but admire the Gioberti gene of being completely unbothered. You can tell that Angela and Chase go back and forth so much that neither one of them are bothered by each other. So Chase is reading over the contract, the new contract that shows that he, Francesca, and Angela are now the sole heirs, and Reardon, aka the manimal, is explaining to them all that, this supersedes the will because, this was written before. We can tell that this is his signature, this is his daughter, so it doesn't really matter what he wrote after that. This is what it is. And Chase is just like, He's reading over, but he's not reading too hard because he's rich now. He's like, okay, my lawyer's going to look over it. Angela, could you just go ahead and tell me what is this? I already know there's going to be some messing behind this. What is it? She's just like, boy, little boy, bye. Mind your business. Just sign it or don't. I don't really care. It is what it is. I'm not, what game am I running? She's definitely running game. She is sitting on the fact, aka the name of the trump card, aka the name of this episode. She is sitting on the fact that Francesca has all but sold her that. She owns 66 point whatever % of this as soon as all the paperwork is filed. Now, he doesn't know that. And then she's banking on being able to sue him because she has written all the checks. She has bribed all the right congressmen. She has bribed the right people in the Aviator Foundation. She's just chilling, kind of marinating in the fact that she is a supervillain. She is 15 steps ahead of him. So enjoy the moment, Chase. You can, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. And he's just like, But what she doesn't know is that he has his own trump card. Remember when he and Maggie flew to New York, they were looking for her birth father, but they talked to the guy at the Aviation Academy or Aviation Association, and the aviation guy felt like the details just did not make sense. It didn't make sense that more people didn't notice the water. It didn't make sense, or the condensation that was allegedly pooling on the ground doesn't make sense, that the engines collapsed the way they did. It just doesn't seem right. He's like, plus your whole family was in there. That just doesn't seem like you would do, doesn't seem right. And don't forget, Emma's espionage paid off in dividends because she found the logs of all the calls that Angela was making to the congressman, who she calls Bunny, and they found a voided check for $125,000 that the sole witness and sole mechanic who gave the testimony, almost a testification, testimony, they found that check. Now, side note, how could that be voided? Wouldn't he have already come back? This is before direct deposit. I tried to think about this. I couldn't figure out why she would hold on to the voided check, because later on in the episode, she said that she was going to cancel that check. But as this is like a month later, the money been gone. Anyway, research has been done, and by midway through the episode, Chase is cleared of all wrongdoing. The aviation looked into everything. They looked into, let me back up just a little bit. You remember Congressman Bunny? The one that is a little bit sweet on Angela, the one that Emma knew about? Chase and his lawyer pal go to visit this guy, and they present him with all the evidence. The voided check, the sketchy testimonies, the aviation's research, just everything. And he's denying it all up and down. Then finally Chase is like, okay, cool, that's very cute. But please note that we have a meeting with Congressman blah, 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 blah at 3 p.m. Now this gets Bunny, the congressman, all out of whack. He jumps up. How dare you threaten a U.S. United States senator or congressman? She's like, it's no threat. I mean, if you have amnesia, that's great. This guy doesn't. I'm going to present all the evidence. And by halfway through the episode, he's cleared of all the charges. Oh my gosh, it's so breathtaking and liberating. He just feels so free now. And it's good because that storyline's, there's no point in that. So what that does, it does eliminate the civil suit filed against him from Angela. So even though Francesca has sold her portion, he's still holding on to a solid third. Not bad. He's going to do okay. Seems like this is a heavily researched episode because Maggie's PI stops by middle of the night or early evening to tell her that he found her father. He found her birth father, who turns out to be, he was a pilot. Seems like that was going to be her destiny at some point. Regardless, her dad was a pilot in World War II. It looks like he was shot down over an island and his body was never recovered, which we already know what that means. And her mother, her birth mother, definitely used an alias, like Jane Smith, Jane Doe, something very basic, something impossible to trace, especially circa 1984. Well, this is wonderful news. This is just, it's great. And now she's kind of thinking about taking a trip to whatever that island is that her dad disappeared on, just to see. So are we going to get like a Gilligan's Island thing? Has he been living? Has he been living like Tom Hanks in Castaway all this time? Who knows? And who's her mom? They don't bring anything up for no reason. So be prepared for another relative to pop in. Now, so far, I will say when Chase has a relative pop up, with the exception of his mother, it doesn't necessarily go that bad. They seem to be the exception to the rule, but I feel like Maggie's parents are going to be extra messy because she's so unproblematic. I can't imagine that her parents would be that way as well. Now that he's got his wings back, Chase can't wait to get up in the air. But you know something else that has taken flight? Cole and Melissa's on again, off again, all the way off again, all the way up and down and out again relationship. So much so that she is making out with him in public. She's taking him to Richard's racetrack. They are just the cutest. They're so cute. They're the cutest little couple. She decides to tell the manimal, hey, it's all the way off. Now, last time I checked, they hadn't actually hooked up. Not that I knew about. They kiss, they flirt. He sells her horses. He seems to be overly obsessed with horses, which is strange to me. But I also know that he's the manimal. He has to bring it up whenever he can. She implies that they have had some sort of relationship, but that it is now over. She is ready to be an honest woman. and she wants no one other than Cole. It is all about her and Cole. And she's like, I just can't jeopardize this relationship. I need this. I love him. Goodbye, Reardon. But I'd still like to be business partners. Let's just keep this professional. What do you say? And he's like, okay, we can do that. But I just need you to know that ever since I was a little boy, whenever I wanted something, I find a way to get it. That's cute and all, and you're good looking and all, but I just don't think he has the juice. She loves these mild children. She's a mild child lover. I don't see him or Cole. I don't see them seducing anybody. Thank God they're good looking, because without that, I don't get it. I don't get it, but the manimal seems to think he's got a little juice. He thinks he's got something to prove, and I can't wait to see what it is. I guarantee you it'll be lame, and I guarantee you it will involve horses. Quick little caveat, y'all. I am begging you, run, don't walk. Figure out Freevee TV. Figure out a way to watch the show. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you too. I made a discovery last week within the Amazon Prime app. As you know, I went ahead and just kind of bit the bullet. Watched a few episodes of Falcon Crest. I was buying them one by one. I think they were like 99 cents. Got the whole season now. But I noticed the other day that within the Amazon Prime app, there is the Primetime soap opera channel. I was like, oh, so I checked it out, and it was a show I vaguely remember from the 90s. But this morning, I noticed that Falcon Crest was on there. So it'll be a little bit more like watching cable, like watching live television. Falcon Crest is definitely on there. Figure out what you need to do between now and tomorrow morning to watch this episode. So remember I told you that Richard had kind of kicked Pam to the curb. He made her go back to go work. Well, she went to work, but she also continued to spy on him. And it was really easy because Francesca is dressed like a disco ball in the most respectful way. I mean, respectfully, she's dressed in a midi silver, fully rhinesewed out dress, while she and Richard check into a private hotel room. Now, Pam is around the corner, peeking, and I don't know what the stylist was thinking. Can somebody please explain to me 1984 hair? Because it is the Elvis sort of bouffant. You know that picture of Elvis in all leather? That's exactly, she's got on a leather jacket. Her hair is slicked back and then swooped kind of into a faux glory roll on top. She looks like an Elvis impersonator wearing a red scarf and an all leather outfit. Not the Lord God. He's pushed this woman to the brink. He's got my girl all shook up. She's hiding around the corner dressed as Elvis. It is diabolical. Speaking of hiding, our girl Julia is in an interesting predicament. She's already confessed. She's already come out of hiding. She tried to turn herself in, but it's not working. So now she has to decide what she's going to do with the rest of her life. Now she's having a great time with her new little boo thing, only they have to live, he lives in a camper, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and he works this job at this gas station. So he's gone most of the day, and she's at home trying to be the best wife that she can be. She's like, okay, I guess this is my life now. Well, he promises her one morning as he heads to work, hey, honey, I'm just going to work half a shift today. When I come home, I'm going to take you out for a steak dinner. She's like, hell yeah. She's got her mouth all fixed. She's ready to eat. So she occupies her time during the day. And then he comes home as promised, about half a shift into his day. And he's like, honey, guess what? Mr. So-and-so at the gas station gave me a promotion. I get an extra $1.50. And I'm thinking, dang, that's a good raise. That's a really good raise, especially in 1984. He made me a manager, but I'm going to have to work a little bit more. She's like, but wait, you promised me steaks. We're supposed to go to Outback. I want a bloomin' onion. And he's like, I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you. I promise. So as this is where that psychosis pops up. She's like, damn it, Lucas, I'm sick of this. I can't sit in this tin can another moment. I can't take it. And he's like, honey, I'm sorry. He leaves. Well, she's like, that's just great. As he leaves, she starts tearing clothes off the clothing line. She starts kicking stuff off the tables, pours out all the lemonade. She flips the F out. And then because she didn't have any neighbors, she is forced to hoof it to the nearest payphone. She goes and she does what all sisters do when they're close to their sister. She calls her sister. She's like, girl, Lucas is driving me crazy. I can't live like this anymore. I can't live in this Pepsi can. I'm going to kill somebody. I just know I'm going to kill somebody. And Emma's like, baby girl, calm down. Don't even worry. Just come home. They can't even try you twice. You can't get tried twice in the U.S. for the same crime. Loophole. But Julia's like, I don't think I can do it. I know for a fact, if I come back to Falcon Crest, I am 1,000% going to kill somebody. Emma's like, no, girl, don't worry about it. You're not going to kill anybody again. Just tell us where you're at. Just tell us where you're at. We'll come and get you. Well, up comes Angela. Angela's like, who? Tell who or what? Julia hears this and she hangs up. Emma hangs up too. And Angela's like, girl, who are you talking to? No one. Emma, you were clearly talking to somebody. Who were you talking to? No one. Nobody. She's going to sit on that little secret and hold it to herself. But I don't know what Julia's going to do. She seemed to have walked away from that. I get that. Not to say that jail or prison is better, but at least she knew she was going somewhere. She's already kind of survived it. Now it's just like, I have to be in captivity. I'm kind of stuck with this guy. This is all just becoming way too much. And she's mentioning that the voices in her head are back. The voices in her head is one singular voice. It is the voice of her mother. So, y'all, I'm ready for her to flip out. But the little caveat is that the Lieberman, of course, has the phones tapped. Because I was thinking to myself, how would he have known about that conversation? That did not happen in Angela's study where that whole Falcon statue has a bug in it. Apparently, he's bugged all the phones. And he and Spirits immediately are like, wait, is Julia still alive? What are we going to do? So they're working on something. Now that they know that, I don't know if they're going to use it to frame Angela or what, but they are aware that Julia's alive and so is Emma and so is Lucas. Among his many endeavors, among his many sort of peculiar tastes, Lieberman has kind of thrown his hat into the race of trying to seduce Francesca. Now, he kissed her hand at the party, and she was like, okay, that's cute. But one morning, she's having a walk after she and Angela had a little tiff, and up comes Lieberman. He's like, hey, you're so beautiful. I would love to talk to you, and we have so much in common. And she's like, I suppose you want my land too? And he's like, well, I mean, yes, but I also want to seduce you. She basically just kind of looks him up and down and she's like, okay, that's cute. Try harder. And moves on. Don't know what it is about the Italian it girl. It's not that much land. I guess they just kind of want to see what's up. Like, man, she's haughty. In the final scene, we return to the brainchild, in my opinion, of this whole season, the Indiana Jones referencing throughout. Chase has his pilot's wing back. Maggie's father was a pilot. They decide this is the best way for her to connect with her past. They get up in a plane, a little yellow 2-seater, and they start doing dippity-doos all over. Well, Emma sees this. She runs in the house and she's like, Lance, Ma, y'all come outside, come outside. So they all run out on the porch and they're looking up and they're like, who is that? And Lance and Angela are like, oh God, did we forget that somebody was crop dusting today? No. It's Chase. Angela's like, oh my God, he's completely lost his mind. Now she's thinking he's doing something illegal. And there goes that Auntie Jean comes in and she's like, okay, I want him destroyed, but I don't want him in jail. Well, before she has a chance to think on it too much, Chase pulls out the pettiest card. She may have the trump card, but he has the petty card. He pulls out a telephone and he calls her from the plane and he's like, hey, Auntie, little boy, what are you doing? Do you want to go to jail? You were acting a teetotal fool. Get out of that plane. He's like, I don't think I will. Your little boyfriend, Bunny Silverman, seems to want to retract his statement. Seems like I'm a pilot again. I just wanted you to be the first to know, baby. Go and look at me. Wait with your boy. You see me. She's like, shut the hell up. Hangs up the phone. But at the end of the episode, she's like, okay, that's cute. I'm going to let you have your little moment. I'm going to let you enjoy this because next time you see me, it's going to be a problem. And that's it. That's all for that episode. A lot of fun here. It's kind of fun to see the tension building with Francesca in particular. Although she's been cool, she's very calm, collected. She's not really letting her feathers get rustled that much. She does make a comment when she and Richard cuddled in bed post-coitus. She makes a comment about how her father robbed her of the life she could have had because she went her whole life believing that he was a soldier that was killed in the war, when in reality, he was a wealthy vineyardist, or whatever you call it, in California, not taking responsibility for her. So far, so good. She seems very chill, but it is an interesting combination to have her and Richard together. I wonder how long it'll be before she puts 2 and 2 together about Lieberman. Also, that's another thing. Angela is looking into Lieberman, or Liebman, whatever his name is. Forget his alias. She's looking into him because she's not fully buying that story. So we got the manimal going after Melissa, Maggie's real parents on the horizon, Angela dropping the bomb on Chase about the vineyard, Lance trying to seduce Richard's stepdaughter, Pam now knowing that Richard is stepping out on her, and of course, this whole business with Nazi gold. Maggie's adoptive father, or her dad, has not been in a couple of episodes, so I'm wondering how that's going to turn out. All right, guys, that's it. That's all for this episode. Join me again next time as we jump into another primetime soap opera. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please leave me a comment under fan mail or wherever you listen. Rate and review on Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen. And remember, if you make a promise to take somebody out to a steak dinner, you better make damn sure that comes true. Otherwise, they'll flip over your tin can of a household, tear up all your clothes, and destroy any trays of ice cold lemonade you thought you were going to enjoy. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your business, and keep all of your drama on TV.